The opportunity to make an actual fortune in solar is here now, but it won't always be here. So getting the idea that you're really trying to build a fortune and become financially independent in about 5 years' time, and then look like that.
Guys, we're here with Mr. Mike O'Donnell, the man that needs no introduction. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Great to be with you.
For the people that don't know you out there, could you give us a short little introduction for us?
Well, yeah, I started selling solar in 1984. I kind of accidentally walked into a solar company, answering an ad to be a telemarketer, and I ended up being a setter for solar in 1984. Those were, the beginning days of the idea of tax credits, and I did phenomenally well. But I also ended up becoming trained to be a closer, and the guys that were doing that training were guys that had sold aluminum siding for literally in the 50s and 60s and 70s. They were guys that had decades of experience doing home improvement, high ticket, in the home, make the appointment, get to the kitchen table, and for God's sakes, close the deal today, because there's not going to be another meeting at any point in this future. So those guys knew how to do that. They taught me how to do it. That was 1984, and been working on that ever since.
Straight fire. Guys, if you haven't been on Mr. Mike O'Donnell's MOD training platform, it's game changing. It's changed the game for me for sure. For the younger kids that haven't really seen what the solar industry can do for them, what's something that you may have told the 21-year-old Mike O'Donnell with the info that you have now?
Well, so honestly, I was 19, 20 years old when I started selling solar. I kind of wish I had stayed with it. I was in college at the time to get into the IT engineering world. I spent 25 years in the IT sales world, in a B2B sales career, and I did very well. But doing very well as a corporate America sales rep means you make 150 grand to 250 grand when you're at the top of the game. And it took me a while to get to the top of that game, but at the top, that's the limit. You're not going to make a lot more money than that. Maybe it's changed a little because of inflation. So in 2015, got back into solar doing this. What I discovered is there's an opportunity for a young person, for any person, to be in a sales career where they really have an opportunity to make $500,000 a year, $1 million a year. That's not some smoke of mirrors, some multi-level thing where the planet's gonna light up. You just need the recipe and how to do it. And if you follow that recipe, you'll be making $500,000 to $1 million. I may make $1.5 million a year selling solar. So, but you gotta have the recipe. If you don't know how to do it, it's really hard. If you do know how to do it, it's very easy. And so that's what I teach people to do, and that's what I've been doing. I own a solar company at Sun Solar Solutions. It's in Phoenix, Arizona. We install solar statewide. And I've got maybe 60 sales reps that work for me. 20% of them make over $500,000 a year.
They make over $500,000.
20% of them, yeah, and a handful of them make $1 million a year. Now that means 80% of them make less. Why is that? One, they don't want it enough. They haven't actually taken advantage of the training, or they just don't have the motivation. Part of this problem in solar is people get into solar and they start making money, and they get 30 grand ahead and they quit working, and then they go broke and then they start working, and they go broke and they start working. So part of the recipe to getting to a point where you're really making $1 million a year selling solar is understand that that's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to get 30 grand ahead and go to Cancun. So it's really about a mindset of utilizing this very precious once in a lifetime opportunity, and understanding that it's scarce. It's not unlimited. It's not going to be here forever. We're not always going to need to have world-class salesmen waking people up to the idea that they should go solar, and then having to pay them, $3, $5, $7, $8, $10,000 to do that job. In about over the next 7 years, people's utility bills are going to double, and their utility bill will tell them they need to go solar, and then we'll just need a kiosk in the mall, right? And that guy will make $500 every time he signs somebody up. So the opportunity to make an actual fortune in solar is here now, but it won't always be here. So getting the idea that you're really trying to build a fortune and become financially independent in about 5 years' time, and then look like that. Actually work every day like that's what you're trying to do.
Wow. I hope you guys have a notepad out. But for Sun Solar Solutions, how were you able to scale so quickly?
Wasn't quickly. That was 8 years ago when we started as a merry band of men, and it grew slowly. But the reason we were able to get to big numbers in slow growth was because each of the people selling, me, my partner Troy Demakowicz, other guys that were with us back as early as then, they were selling 1 million to 2 million watts of solar. Troy and I were selling closer to 3 million watts of solar. So we were a very sizable solar company as a very small solar company from a sales perspective. So learning how to actually make those appointments, get to the kitchen table, make a presentation that lights the customer's ass on fire is a skill. And if you're trained and shown how to do that, and then most solar presentations, and you've been on a bunch of them, Luis, they all end about the same way, which is, wow, this is awesome. We didn't know this. Thank you for sharing this with us. We're excited about solar. We love you. I'd say there's almost no chance we're not going solar, and we'll definitely go with you because you brought this to us. But Luis, you would understand, right? Like, my wife and I will need a night or two to sleep on this.
Classic.
Happen to be available on Friday, 1 o'clock Friday. I'll have to talk to my accountant by then. I'll talk to whoever I need to talk. We'll have meditated and prayed. But 1 o'clock Friday is open. Can we get together Friday at 1 o'clock and do the paperwork? Would that be good for you?
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Okay, you just effed up the whole sale.
That's what normal people do, yeah.
And so if you have it in your head that there's possibility that there's going to be another meeting where you and I are in a room and we're just like, if you buy that objection that needs to happen, you're going to lose the sale. You're going to lose the sale. Because you need to understand, that's what those tin men taught me, 30 years ago. There's not going to be another meeting. This is the last meeting. If you know that, if you understand it, then you will become willing to ride or die in this meeting. But most people, I show them, I give them a hammer, and there's the nail. The customer says, boom, I need some time to think about it. Can you email this, propose it to me? And they see the hammer in the toolbox, and they see the nail, and they see the hammer, and they go, sure, I can come Friday, believing there's going to be another meeting. As opposed to going, hot damn, we're about to do paperwork. If you understand, grab the hammer, hit the nail on the hammer, we're about to do paperwork. We're going to do paperwork. We're going to need this thing. We're about to do paperwork right now. If you understand how to get from there to there. And when you were with Smart, you went through that training, right? And you learned those concepts. And they're not ideas that come to you on your own. Someone has to teach them to you and then show you the word tracks, show you the craft, show you how to be a world-class salesman. You may learn that over 20 years, but you don't have 20 years. You need to learn it in the next couple of weeks. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to sit with somebody who knows how to do it. And so that's what happens at MOD Sales Academy. People sit down with me. We spend 8 hours together. At the end of that 8 hours, they've heard everything there is to know about selling solar at that level.
For example, for like me, I'm fresh in the game. I've been in solar for about 2 years, starting up my own sales org. Knowing what you know now, if everything was taken away and you had to build a super team, what would be your first step to build that super team?
Me, selling a lot of solar. I am a super team. I'm 2.5 megawatts of solar, 3 megawatts of solar a year. That's a pretty damn good little solar dealership. That's a great place to start. I would go through the training. I would learn how to sell solar. And then once I was comfortable doing it, first of all, I'd be recruiting, people to go knock on doors with me, not for me, with me. So that knocking, they're learning. And then, okay, I got a 2 o'clock appointment. You keep going. I'll go in this appointment. I'll come back, see how you did. How'd you do? No one said yes. What a surprise. But what happened? What did they say when you knocked on the door? That guy said he needed to talk to his wife. He was interested, but he needed to talk to his wife. That guy said, don't need your help because I got a solar quote tomorrow from another company. All right, come with me. We're going to talk to that guy that needs to talk to his wife, and we're going to talk to that guy that's talking to a solar company tomorrow. We're going to make appointments with both of them. Right? So building a team is you don't want to build a big team. You want to build a very, very small team of you. Just you. And add one person that knocks doors with you. And then maybe a second person that knocks doors with you. You want to be in 2 or 3 appointments every day and close almost all of them. And if you're trained to do that, then you can train others to do it. Hiring a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, that's just a big, gigantic waste of time. It accomplishes nothing.
And with the evolving changes in the solar industry, headed towards the future, where do you see the setter closer model going? Is it shifting more towards the setter? Is it shifting more towards the closer?
It's been around forever. It'll be around forever. My favorite is the setter who is setting for a master closer, and they're doing that so that they can sit in those appointments once they get down the road. And then they learn the craft of being a closer, and now they're closing and they're hiring a setter. So, but if you think the setter closer isn't a model, if you're closing and you're not setting, you're screwing this thing up. So you need to be a self-gen closer who augments the appointments he's in with appointments that are also set by setters. But if you think you're just going to put together a team of sitters and not have to be on the doors, they're not going to know what they're doing. They're going to know what they're doing because they'll have been with you knocking doors. That's the key.
And what keeps Mike O'Donnell motivated? You've accomplished so much, multiple Golden Door, multiple in 1 year Golden Door award winner. What keeps you driven and waking up in the morning every day?
So I work harder now than I ever have. I'm on my MOD no matter what call, every single day, 8 o'clock. It's a 30-minute call. That call's purpose is to generate momentum in all of the people that are on that call, but mostly in me. By 8:30, I am out the door. I'm on the way to appointments. I'm in meetings. I'm in the process of building a business that will be sold for hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. So, I'm in a mission to make that happen. That's why I'm as busy as I am. And I'm also selling solar. That's where most of my money comes from. So I got a lot to do. I don't think I'm almost there. I don't think I'm I'm not talking about back in the day. Like, this is the day. I'm looking forward to the day when I'm on my yacht in the Mediterranean, doing my no matter what call from the coast of Italy. I'm looking forward, but this will be back in the day. I'm not going to be thinking, oh, I'm now the boss. I now own a solar company, whatever. And I'll be talking, oh, back in the day I sold solar. I'm selling solar today.
Now, that was straight fire. If you were to go back in time and you were 21 with all the knowledge that you have now, maybe for the 21-year-old that's lost right now, doesn't know which way to go, what would you tell that lost 21-year-old?
The problem with the 21-year-old is you feel like, and you're probably right, you have many decades to get to where you're going. So you're not going to feel the urgency. There's almost nothing I can do for a 21-year-old to get it in his head that this is a short, urgent, crucial, precious, and limited opportunity. Because a 21-year-old is just going to think, I have decades to make my mark. And they do. So they don't have to get it. And they probably won't. They're not going to be mature enough in most cases to go, holy shit, maybe there won't be another gold mine. Maybe I won't be in another gold rush. Maybe I'll spend the next 30, 40 years with a fucking headset around my neck, chained to a desk, trying to pay my bills. And I'll look back when I'm 35 and know for 20 to 25, I could have been financially independent. I could have been not needing a job. I could have created with a 7-figure income and 8-figure net worth. I could have utilized that 8-figure net worth to be the boss of the company I'm chained to a desk of, and on my way to building something that sells for hundreds of millions of dollars. The 21-year-olds aren't going to get that. They got decades to make their mark, and they're going to make enough money to party and smoke weed and do all that stuff. Unless you're that guy. Maybe you are that guy. I was that guy when I was 19 years old. So if you're that guy, then you don't need to get it. You already know you. You already know you're that guy, and you're going to get a hold of every resource you can to cut out the time to make this time as valuable and productive as possible. But if you're not thinking that way, some speech from some guy like me is probably not going to change that. But you'll learn it over time. You'll look back on this and wish you got it.
Wow. Mr. Michael, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
With you.
Where can people find you that can't find you now?
So they can follow me on Instagram. I'm huge on TikTok, I understand. I am, which is Michael O'Donnell Sales. I've also got tons of content that'll get you tons of information on YouTube at Michael O'Donnell Sales. Also, I really encourage people to check out the training, and that's at modsalesacademy.com. modsalesacademy.com. Just go on there, check. It's super cheap. It costs almost nothing. Literally, you'll make the money back from being in this training. It's $1,000. to be in the training, you'll make that money back in your first sale, and that'll happen literally within days. Like the chance you don't make the money back in like a week is just ridiculous. So I encourage you to try the training. You've been on it. It's made a world of difference. Has it made a difference?
I can attest to it. It's changed the game for me. It changed the game. He's brought a lot of value to me. If you aren't following him on social media, get to it because he'll change the game for you too. Also, I want to leave on a little side note. Being persistent, I've been bugging my mentor, Mike O'Donnell, for months to try and get him on the podcast, but he's so busy. But now we finally got on at SolarCon. Thank you.
It's been awesome. I'd love to have you over at the booth. I signed the book. My book is called No Matter What, WATT, and it's just at the show now. It's available on Amazon, and the paperback version is $15. So, and it has a tremendous amount of what we're talking about. So.
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Great.
Thanks.